Over the last 10 years, Hollywood has undergone a monumental change from the traditional flatbed way of editing film to an almost exclusive use of digital nonlinear editors. The majority of all films that come out of Hollywood are edited on the Avid Media Composer or Film Composer. And the same holds true for Pro Tools, as it has become the audio standard for film post. The seamless two-way transfer of audio and picture between Avid and Pro Tools makes for a working environment that is unsurpassed in terms of efficiency and ease of use. In this section, we'll see some of the features that make Pro Tools stand out as the obvious choice when working on audio for film.
One great tool that Pro Tools allows us to use in ADR replacement is a tool in Audio Suite called VocAlign. We can select an area that we find that needs to be replaced, and we'll look at the video.
If you work with dialogue, you'll find options.
We'll replace that area right there. We'll start by putting a splice at the head and the tail of the area that we want to highlight. Playing it again.
If you work with dialogue,
now record the new piece.
If you work with dialogue,
so then we highlight the guide track, capture it into VocAlign, highlight the dub track, capture that also in VocAlign, and process the dubbed track. And listen to what we have.
If you work with dialogue,
completely in sync with the original guide.
If you work with dialogue,
in fact, let's mute his and listen to the new track that's been recorded.
If you work with dialogue,
and it matches.
if you work with dialogue,
It fits into his mouth.
I really like Pro Tools for film and for any sort of post-production work because it's really intuitive. It's really easy to teach someone how to use it. And basically, you say, here's what you think you want to do, which is take a sound and make it match to a picture. And it's very easy to teach them how to accomplish that task. And of course, that's just the beginning, because then you can take those sounds and you can use Pro Tools to layer them in all sorts of ways. You can use Pro Tools to use Audio Suite plugins to change them in all sorts of ways. You can reverse them, you can pitch shift them, and you can do anything you want, basically, with these sounds and layer all sorts of effects together. And then you get into sound design and you get into using unusual things to make something you would never think of, using slow down animals to make backgrounds for underwater stuff, or using underwater animals like whales and stuff to use great backgrounds for dream sequences where people are drowning. You know, it's very subtle things that you could never think of doing before you had Pro Tools. It's very flexible to do all that stuff. One of the things I really like now is that these kind of one-stroke keys, and I don't even use all of them, but the ones I use all the time. And it includes like switching between the different modes, because a lot of times I cut in grid mode so that when I have to change stuff later, I don't end up cutting off little bits or having funny little pieces left behind. But a lot of times when you want to line something up precisely, you have to slip into slip mode or even spot mode for different things. So this is great just to flip between that and also between the tools, because I'm always going between the grabber and the other tools. And I love the crossfades and all the fades that I can just like line up my, this here and just say fade out. Ooh, and then I can set all these, and the preferences are really great. I work for 10 or 12 hours a day doing the same thing all day long. So by the end of the day, my arms are very thankful that I'm switching between different modes of working and different ways to, achieve the same tasks. This is a great spotting tool for cutting with the picture, because you can just start where you think about where it's going to be and say, okay, here's this coin roll. And land right there, and then go look for a coin roll. And there's the beginning of the coin roll right where we stopped the picture. You don't have to think about the footages or find the time code and type it all in, because you can just pop it in where you're parked.
In film, sound, you're presented with the dialogue recordings from the location, and they are imperfect. So we try our best to clean out imperfections in the track. I wanted to show how you can really get in very close with Pro Tools to see and hear what the problems are, and then find a solution to making the problem go away. So I recorded myself saying, dialogue editing in Pro Tools can be easy. Okay, so there's a big glitch on the P, like a plosive. It's actually the worst plosive I've ever heard. And then I recorded this, which is a better version. Doing dialogue editing in Pro Tools can be easy. But it's a different performance. It doesn't have the energy of the first one. So we can't use it, but it has a good P from the word Pro Tools. So we can move it over here. This track is in sync with the picture, let's say. So we're going to use that as our guide, and we're going to fix it. So the first thing I want to do is find the problem very carefully. So I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see it. So, I mean, you can cut it out. So let's find the P over here. See if I can steal it. That's probably it right there. So I've just copied what I think is the P. Let's check. Yep, that's the P. So let's go find where it was here. And let's go back and just paste it into the hole. So 1 frame long bit from another take, and let's see what that sounds like. Dialogue editing in Pro Tools can be easy. So that's pretty good. That would be very difficult to do in some other systems. I have to say, I worked on a system that couldn't allow you to make edits closer than 2 frames apart. And that was incredibly frustrating after working on Pro Tools, which you can make clips as short as 4 samples or something. I think part of the reason Pro Tools has been adopted is because it is intuitive and fun to work with.